Congressman Adam Schiff, ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, and as someone who's a ranking member on an oversight committee, what's wrong with essentially preemptively or proactively, let's say, preserving the possibility of presidential privilege, if I can say that 10 times fast, as the Attorney General suggested today?
Well, there's no privilege to reserve a potential privilege later. You either invoke a privilege or you don't. And here, there was really nothing unanticipated about the questions. We all knew what the senators were going to ask. If he had come to the House, we would have asked exactly the same questions. He came prepared to answer some and not to answer others. So there was no reason except the fact that the White House wanted to try to have it both ways, didn't want to actually have the spectacle of having to invoke the privilege, but also didn't want him to answer. Now, Congress cannot let that stand. And, you know, in particular, those questions that go to whether he violated his recusal, whether the president fired Director Comey as a way of obstructing or impeding the investigation, if he is privy to information that the memo that Rod Rosenstein prepared, his own letter, would serve as mere pretext or window dressing to conceal the true reason for Comey's firing, he cannot hide that behind a privilege. So we need to pursue this in Congress. We need to litigate it if necessary. But we can't take that non-answer as the last word.
There's been 3 officials who've testified before Congress, all sort of occupying a similar space in terms of how they've answered committee. Dan Coats, Director of National Intelligence, Admiral Rogers at the NSA, and now Jeff Sessions. I guess, is this anomalous? I mean, is it normally the case that those from the executive branch before Congress will answer questions under oath or invoke privilege? Is this middle space unusual, or is it something that happens a lot?
No, it's very unusual, and it's completely unacceptable. The fact that it may be inconvenient or it may be embarrassing, that's not a privilege. But, you know, again, when you have a clash between the executive and the legislative branch, it really is a test of wills. We have the legal right to get the answers, and the only question is whether we'll demonstrate the will to insist on them. We're going to have to. I'm confident that Bob Mueller is going to as well, but the public has a right to know this. We, you know, cannot allow the executive to try to cloak what may be impropriety or illegality behind claims of privilege. So, you know, among the most striking things to me today were, you know, the fact that he tried to hide behind this non-privilege, but also the degree that you pointed out to which he corroborated Director Comey about that key meeting where Comey was asked to drop the Flynn case. The following day, Comey goes to Sessions. Sessions acknowledges Comey was uncomfortable what took place, and he says basically, don't let that happen again. Now, Sessions testified today that meeting with the president as an FBI director in and of itself may not be wrong. It's only wrong when it's about a pending case. Well, because the director was uncomfortable, he knew it was about a pending case, and of course that case was the Russia case.
I want to play one moment that was really interesting to me, in which Sessions talked about the degree to which he knows about the nature of the investigation into what Russia did. Take a listen.
After the election, before the inauguration, you never sought any information about this rather dramatic attack on our country?
No.
You received no briefing on the Russian active measures in connection with the 2016 election?
No. I don't believe I ever did.
Were you surprised by that?
I was surprised by it, and you know, to me, it very much echoed a question that Director Comey was asked, and that is, did the president ever ask you about the Russian hacking, what we needed to do about it, how we protect the country, what steps we should take to deter them? And the answer was similarly no. Now, it surprised me more, I think, with Sessions, because with the president, it's very clear that his only interest is in how does this affect me? Not to how does this affect America or how do we protect America, but how does this affect me? I would have hoped maybe that the Attorney General's answer might have been a bit different, that he would have shown a concern that certainly the rest of us that work in the national security space have and had. He was a member of the Armed Services Committee, so yes, I thought that was very striking.
All right, Congressman Adam Schiff, thanks for your time.